Okay, it looks like we're live. Hello, 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 Instagram. So beautiful to be with all of you. Let me check on my other phone if it's actually live because it just told me 3 times that it was and it wasn't. Hi, guys. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. So excited to dive in with you. This is going to be such a powerful and potent conversation. We have a very special guest joining us very shortly. Hi, Erica. So nice to have you on. Erica, you're going to love this conversation. Yay, it's live. All right, guys, give me some hearts if it's live and it's working and you're excited. I have so much to share. Yay. Hey, Teresa, welcome. Shimon, welcome. Awesome. Susie's here. Okay, now I'm going to invite someone very special. And Susie, you may have, okay, we need to figure this out. You may have to do a little request. Okay, there we go. Got it. Okay, now here we go. Let me see if this is going to work. Okay, everyone cross their fingers and pray to the Instagram gods. Oh my goodness.
I'm excited.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy to do this with you. I love that we're like queen headpiece
I know.
today.
I was like, is she wearing the wrap? Is she going to wear the wrap?
It's so amazing. Yay. How are you, Susie?
I'm good. Do you want me to put my audio not clear? Okay, let me just put my headphones. Is that better? Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Everyone just type through if you can hear Susie well and me well. Let us know. Give us some hearts and some love. Susie, you know, I did a Facebook an Instagram live about a week ago, and it was the first one I'd done in like 3 years. So this is still so new. I'm like, which button? Where are we going? But everything's working. I'm so happy. Everyone's like, so cool. Such a good vibe. We can hear you guys.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you so much for creating the time. I know you're super busy today and your team's flowing with 1,000 things, and so appreciate you. I'm excited for this.
No worries. It's nice because the last time we did this, I was asking you the questions. So I was kind of leading the convo, and now it's the other way around. So it's going to be fun.
It's flipped. And guys, if you don't know Susie Ashworth, she is such a powerhouse. She's such a goddess. She's fully centered in her heart. But not only that, she literally manifests everything that she desire. And she's someone that showed me actually specifically that faith plus action equals miracles. And I think that's something that everyone should write down right now. Just write miracles in the comments if, by the way, that resonates with you. Susie and I have been connected for how many years? When was it?
I think it's like 3 years, maybe a little bit longer, 3.5. Yeah.
Which feels like about 20 years and 6 months all at one time. Right. Yeah. And guys, I've just seen Susie just quantum leap and literally fold time and fold realities and just upgrade herself, upgrade her impact, upgrade her income. And it was only, when was it? Maybe about 4 or 5 days ago that I get a message from Susie, and she's like, hey, I just hit $1 million in my business for this year. And this is such a huge celebration.
It was £1 million. Sorry.
£1 million, because that's even better, right? That's like, what is that? 1.3 million, something like that.
1.4. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And guys, this is so exciting, right? Because whenever someone steps up and opens their channel to receive this layer of resources, it simply means that that's a reflection. So we had this moment where I was like, how do you feel? And she was like, well, you know, I'm grateful, but of course, you know, I knew that I was going to create this. I chose this. I prayed for this. I aligned to this. I did the work for this. And what's really exciting, what I'd love to dive into today, Susie, as well, is that, you know, this isn't the first time that you've generated over £1 million. But what's interesting is the time frame, right? Because this is a superpower, and this is something that I've seen you really master, is keeping the alignment but collapsing the time and having it show up faster and faster and faster. And that's what I'm witnessing. And that's like specifically what I'm celebrating here with you today as well.
Yeah. This is it. Yeah. It's
right.
really,
Congratulations, Sue.
and I think, thank you. Can you hear me okay? You're a little bit.
Yeah, I think there was
so I want to make sure.
I think there was a slight delay. But yeah, everyone's going saying they can hear you. They're saying congratulations. This is so inspiring. Yeah.
Hey, Steph. Hey, Polly. Yeah, the timelines are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And that for me is a skill set. It's a muscle that I have been flexing. And it's interesting because it was 2019 that I kind of had a plateau. So I was used to doubling my income year on year on year. And then I plateaued and was like, this is not fun. Why have I slowed down? I need to change things up a bit. And that's where I would say that things in my life and my business really accelerated when I took things beyond my mind, because I'm a very mindy person. And should we say that I went quantum? I think that
Yes.
that is a fair. I went into the field. I went quantum. And so much of that is really down to the work that we did together, continue to do together. So thank you.
Yeah, it's so amazing. It's so beautiful. Everyone's just writing congratulations and amazing. Do you want to share a little bit, Suze, maybe of your story for maybe people that are just seeing you for the first time and they're like, okay, I see this powerhouse queen woman. She's amazing. She's generating this income. She's impacting these people. Like, was it always this way? Were you born into that? Like, you know, where did this really start for you? Because I do feel it's important for people to hear this. You know, you can look at Beyonce now and be like, whoa, but, you know, I'm more interested in like how did Beyonce become Beyonce? You know?
Yeah, 100%. So for those of you who know nothing about me, what I do is I'm a quantum transformation and embodiment coach, and I help conscious leaders across the globe create, scale, and launch high ticket group coaching programs. And I feel so grateful to do what it is that I do. But as Regan said, it didn't start off like this. And actually, if you look at my background, I shouldn't really, on paper, be sat here. So I was fostered at the age of 3 months old, and my foster parents were incredible human beings, but both of them passed away relatively early. So my foster mother passed away at 19, and then my father passed away at 23. And that was whenever you go through a huge loss or trauma, I think early-ish on in life, it becomes a choice point, as you would say. You get to decide which direction you're going in. And at the time, I had dropped out of, it's not high school, I'd got my high school qualifications, but in the UK, we have something called A levels. I dropped out of my A levels. I wasn't going to university. My mum had passed, and I was on track to be the manager of Pizza Hut. So I don't know if you have Pizza Hut across the globe, but
I think everyone has Pizza Hut.
This is what I wanted to do. And I remember feeling at the time like really angry that I had been passed over for a management position. And then my mum passed, and I was really like, is this really what I want to do? Is this what I want to do with my life? And it's only on reflection and only doing the work that I do now, I realized that the reason that I was asking that question is because even though my mum was an incredible human, like she fostered myself, she fostered my younger sister, she'd fostered children beforehand, but when she died, I don't feel that she died happy. And when my foster father died, I don't think that he died happy. And what I realized at 19 was I could carry on fighting to be the manager of Pizza Hut, or I could try and find something else. And so I got on a plane and I went to Ibiza. And we were talking about this the other day. Ibiza changed my life. It opened my eyes. It showed me that there was a bigger world out there. I ended up traveling the world for 4 years. I learned sales. I learned how to serve. And I started off on a path that I had no idea that I would end up here. Fast forward a period of time, and I got pregnant with my first son. I'm a mum of 3 children, a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old. I got pregnant with my first son, and I was working at the Guardian newspaper in advertising sales. And I asked myself, I knew as soon as I found out I was pregnant that I wanted to be able to say to him, you can do anything you want to in this world. You can do anything. And I looked at myself and I was like, are you doing the thing that you really want to be doing? And the answer was no. It took me until I got pregnant with my second child to leave, but I trained as a hypnotherapist and a psychotherapist. I set up my own hypnobirthing company. And 8 years later, I'm sat here on an Instagram live with you, the lovely Regan, and you who are watching.
It's so amazing. Yeah, I feel there's so much power in your story and so much inspiration, but also relatability for people. You know, there's so many people saying, wow, I'm so glad I tuned in right now. You know, this is so inspiring. This is, yeah, it's phenomenal. It's so beautiful, and it's so important to unlock those pieces. And I'm curious, Susie, you know, how has it been as well, you know, ascending through these layers that you've gone through in terms of impact and income and the appropriate work on yourself to create this version of you from the inside out? How has that been for you as a woman? Because, you know, this is one of the big reasons I celebrate you. I'm like, and she's a full goddess queen, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel there's just so many other women out there right now that are looking for examples like you. And I think it would be powerful for people to hear, you know, how has that been on that journey? Has it just been easy? Is it nothing you've thought about? Have there been challenges? Have you had other women support you? Have you had other women pull you down? Like, what does this journey actually look like from that perspective?
Do you know what? I think actually it's been the last 2 years that have been the most interesting and challenging for me as a woman in business, and not just a woman in business, but a woman of color in business.
Right.
The world has changed so much, and there has been so much more awareness around Black people and how we, you know, our advantages, our disadvantages, how the world supports us, how the world is against us. And I think that as a woman, the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing, the reason why it's important that I am on live today and that we're celebrating the fact that I've done 1 million in 6 months is because really, really, and because it's rare, and because it's even rarer then as a Black woman, there's layers and layers of stuff that you have to shed around shame, around embarrassment, around fear of people wanting to pull you down because it's not the norm. And you're processing that. I've been processing that over the last couple of years. I think that when I first started out, it was about getting my head down and just doing the work and being really focused. And then the more, in inverted commas, public success or material success I've had, the more stuff comes up. And when you say around support, I have deliberately, very deliberately put myself in environments. You taught me this, actually, that you place yourself in is the most crucial thing that you can do. So being around powerful 7-figure, 8-figure, multiple 8-figure entrepreneurs, being around women who truly see women, being around women who truly support women and see you and model what it gets to be like, what it can be like personally, professionally, spiritually, emotionally. That has been so important and continues to be. The more success I choose to step into, the more work I get to do.
Yes, and it gets to be fun, and it gets to be easy, and it gets to be in flow, right? And I think that's also another piece of what I've really witnessed, you know, especially in a platinum one-on-one time together, is just the level of ease that you've declared for yourself. And it's almost like I've seen you shift into this place of not tolerating it being anything less than ease, right? And ease does not mean that, oh, you're lying on the couch and you're doing nothing, everything just shows up. No, I've seen you like step up as a leader and become an even more powerful CEO and a more powerful leader for yourself. And I've seen that, but that doesn't mean you're like hands off doing nothing and just like lying around, right? So how do you think this concept of ease and grace and flow has activated you, and you know, what impact has that made when it's come to collapsing the time a little bit and actually generating over £1 million in the 6 months? You know, because I can promise you, I can tell all of you, Susie's not like sleeping 2 hours a night and like hating her business and her life and like calling me in tears, like, oh my God, I just have to push it. Like, it's the full, complete opposite, right? And this is why I'm so happy to have you here. I'm happy for people to go and work with you and be with you and follow you, because I know you're an embodied example of that. And we're all working through deeper layers of it. But how has this impacted you, and how has this specifically helped you generate this result as well?
Yeah, well, I think that my background, so what I grew up witnessing was my parents working really, really hard. Going to work really, really hard, and we're going to have just enough to be happy, just enough to put food on the table, just enough. And I took that work ethic into my corporate career, and I worked really, 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 really hard. And I got promoted, and I got results from working really, really hard. I never was in overflow. I never had abundance, but I always had just enough. And I brought that work ethic into my business. And again, I got results, working really, 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 really hard. I absolutely got results without any shadow of a doubt. And then I realized that I couldn't work 100 times harder than what I was working when I made 6 figures in a year to make $1 million in a year. I couldn't continue working at that level. I couldn't keep increasing it in order to make more and more and more impact, because I want to be a multi-million pound. I want to make multi-millions of pounds worth of impact, and then the money is the reward. So I had to catch myself. I had to learn to release. I think one of the biggest things that shifted in me over the years is understanding that the less I try to force things, and the less I try to control things, and the less when I'm not trying to like squeeze it and push it, I create more ease. I create from a place of ease when I'm not holding on really, really tightly. And it starts with just being aware of the language. Like, how do I make this happen? How can we make this happen? How do we make this person pay at this time? It's like, and, you know, I think that there is a deeper level of trust in life, and knowing that I am fully supported. And with that, when I know that I'm fully supported, it enables me to expand my dreams. It enables me to expand my desires. And because everything comes from that embodied place, and I think about, you know, I'm thinking about, well, who am I at 10 million? You know, when I'm making £10 million worth of impact, who do I want to be as a mother? Who do I want to be as a leader? Who do I want to be as a thought leader, a creative, an artist? And because I'm acting from the vision of 10 million today, I can't force that and push it, but I can act from that place of alignment. And that is where it's a different level of, it's a different way of being. And that's where the ease comes in.
Exactly. Yeah, you said that so beautifully. It's a whole different frequency. And I've just seen you, you know, upgrade this frequency and tap into the deeper layers of it. Yeah, everyone's so grateful to hear this. And I really hope that you're all picking up the nuggets that Susie's just laying down so eloquently for you. And especially the piece, you know, we're on here celebrating a money milestone in Susie's business, but I really hope you're listening to the fact that she's completely sharing the holistic pieces in her life. You know, it's never just about the money and what do we do, and like we talk about the money and focus on it. No, in order to create that result, like Susie said, who am I as a mother, who am I over here, who am I, like, it's really important, right, that you're having this holistic upgrade in your life, because otherwise you'll end up being one of those people that generates the money but your health goes down the drain, and your, you know, like everything else is like exploding in your life because you're not doing this in a holistic way. You know, you touched on something, Susie, you touched on the word faith. And, you know, obviously you're a miracle maker, right? And we know the heartbeat of your brand and your business is faith, but action equals miracles. And I'd love to hear your definition of faith, because that's an interesting word. I feel like that can also be a loaded word for some people. I think for some people that can have religious connotations, and some people it's like, oh yeah, I'm totally in faith all the time. Other people like, how do I get in faith? Other people like, what's faith? Does that mean I have to like pray to God and go to church? Like, what is that? You know, what is that for you? And why was that an important piece around really defining the heartbeat of your mission? Because I know it and I get it deeply, but I think that's an interesting piece for people to unpack.
Yeah, it's belief. It's believing in myself. It's believing in the miracle that is life. It is believing in, it's trusting that I am supposed to be here right now. It is believing that I am, that every single step is the right step, even when it looks like the wrong step, even when it feels like the wrong step, even when it feels like I'm in the middle of chaos. It is believing that this is the way that it's supposed to be. And I think that that belief piece, the faith piece, is especially important when you are in the middle of chaos. Because when you can stand centered in the eye of the storm and know who you are, like that is what enables you to keep on going. That is what gives you the resilience. That is resilience in action. And I believe that the most successful people are resilient powerhouses that choose to believe in themselves and choose to believe in life. And so for me, that is what faith is: belief in yourself and belief in life.
That's so beautiful. And on this journey this year, specifically around, you know, manifesting an excess of £1 million in 6 months, was it always that the faith was at 100%? Was there moments that it wavered? And if there was some wavering, then what did you do about it?
So, and again, this is something that you taught me. I work in my big goals and my kind of milestones. So for me, at the moment, my big goal is that I am going to hit 8 figures. And I will be, you know, I will have a £10 million business. There is no wavering in that goal. Now, what I also do is I have these smaller milestones. And sometimes, because life, unfortunately, is not like, I wish I was the puppet master, but I'm not. And sometimes life has its own ideas. And what that means is sometimes the milestone won't happen in the timeline that I desire it to happen. And that can be because I'm still on the journey. I'm still learning. I'm still releasing. I'm still letting go. Sometimes that can cause frustration. Sometimes it can be, well, why didn't that happen? And then I release it because the big goal is happening. It's already done. And so that's when the faith bit, that's when the faith has to be activated. It's trusting that I am experiencing exactly what I'm supposed to be experiencing in this moment, even if it's not what I planned. Because newsflash, most of the time, it's never exactly as you planned it. You want it to be exactly as you planned it, but we're not in control of all of the pieces. And so your ability to, again, release the need to control everything from within an inch of its life and allow to be what is the faith part. And how do I get back on track? I think of the big goal. You know, I'll get on a Voxer, I get on a Telegram to you and be like, this has happened, what's happening? And it's like, we'll work through it. And I release it. And then it's just how I feel how I feel is the most important thing to me.
Mm.
And so when I'm feeling tight, when I'm feeling contracted, when I'm feeling restricted, I know that that is misalignment. I know that that is not truth. I know that there is a story that I'm running in my brain that is making me, the story is limitation. And what I know to be true is that I am limitless. And so the frequency, the vibration, the intention is always expansion.
Mm.
Yeah, someone just said surrendering it, letting that go so I
Yeah.
can return back to expansion. And so that's the practice. Let go, release the story, clear the story, step back into expansion.
So beautiful. Allow it to happen instead of trying to force it to all happen. You know, it's like that moment where you manifest something amazing, you look back and you realize, like, oh, well, that wouldn't have happened unless this happened, unless that person said
Yeah,
that, unless I learned that. And it's like, well, I
yeah,
couldn't have like made that happen even if I tried. You know,
yeah.
so yeah, it's so beautiful. Yes, guys, this is such a powerful conversation. If you have questions specifically for Susie, feel free to type them through and I'll do my
Yeah.
best to catch them. We've got about 100 people on live, literally over, I'm sure tens of thousands of people are going to see this replay. So hashtag replay if you're on the replay. And I'm sure if you write questions in there and tag myself and Susie, we'll come back as well if you're not on live and do our best to catch them and answer them. While we're waiting for that, Susie, let's talk a little bit around time, because obviously in our work together, we've gone really deep. And we've probably had conversations about time that I think many people will be like, what are you even talking about? You know, because it's been so many deep layers when it comes to collapsing timelines and pulling a future version of you into the now and the embodiment process around that. And I just want to celebrate you because you did it and you continue to do it. And it's such a clear, measurable result. This is why I love working with time, because it's so measurable. It's like, okay, well, what was it? Like 1.2 million pounds last year? Is that correct?
Yeah, 1.2
Right.
million in cash last year, which the year before was 420,000. So we went from 420,000 to 1.2 million in a year to 1 million in 6 months.
Right. And we know where you're going to be at the end of this year as well. And so we just keep seeing this folding of the time. And I know this is like deep, deep work and literally days and days and days of going in and recalibrating this and playing with time and having a different relationship to time. But what do you think is some of the big pieces that really have helped you anchor this in? Because again, yeah, it's so amazing, guys. It's so measurable. You can't argue with these results. It's like, well, this happened in this year and this happened in the next year, right? So what are those elements, you know, if someone's looking to fold time and space, again, obviously this is a super deep question, but high level, what are a couple of things that have really had the biggest impact when it's come specifically to these money pieces?
I mean, I don't know if I can answer this in a high level way, but the thing that's coming to the tip of my tongue is really stopping looking at time in a linear way. So we look at time, most people, regular people, I mean, and we're all special people, but most people look at time in past, present, and future. And I think that a huge, huge shift for me, actually, I can put this in more simple terms, is when we did quantum healing, and it was about understanding that you could, through the power of intention, you could, that's not even the best example, but it's through quantum healing, we could go back in time and we could fix things. Mm-hmm. If you've done some hypnotherapy or NLP, you may be familiar with this, but you can go back in time and you can create healing. And if you can go back in time and create healing, you can also go forward in time and create magic. Yes. And being able to play with time in that way. So take things that were not working in the present and identify what happened in the past and go back in the past and fix those things in the past. And then set intentions for what I was doing in the future, and then act from that place in the present. Practical things like that, super, super helpful. There's so many things that I could say around the experience of time and just thinking about time differently. But maybe that is the most helpful example.
I love that. Yeah, it's a perfect example. And, you know, at a high level, I think really what you're sharing with people is shifting your perception and relationship to time. You know, what if, even if you've never experienced this before, you could go back and you could go forward and you could play with time? What if time was on your side and there were these pieces which you get to unlock? How are you doing with time, Susie? There's a couple of questions here. I want to make sure we respect your time. I know you have another call.
It's fine. It's okay.
You're good. Okay, we have a couple of awesome questions here. So Cheryl says, how do you release into expansion? Is it a snap decision or is it a process? Like, is it something you just choose and you're expanded, or is it a process? How's it been for you?
Yeah, so for me, there are so many different processes that I use. One of my most favorite ones right now is just to get very, very quiet. I've been doing a lot of work around identifying the stories of the mind, limited, and then the truth of essence, your soul, who you are. And whenever I talk about essence and soul, I have my hand on my chest. When I'm feeling tight and contracted, normally I'm up here in my head and I'm thinking about what is it that I need to do? What needs to happen? And the answers, the wholeness, the completeness, truth is always down here for me. And so when I'm feeling contracted, just being able to slow my thought process down, focus my attention in my chest area. And then I will connect, I'll ground myself. So often we will use a red laser beam to connect to the ground. White light coming up through my heart, through the crown, connecting with my soul star of origin. And then spaciousness. I'm just looking for spaciousness. And just, even in just a minute, 2 minutes, feeling that spaciousness reconnects me with truth. And from that space, we get to play.
So beautiful and so practical. You know, everyone watching this can do that with you. Go back to this recording once it's up and just skip to this part and redo that. Type in a yes if you're feeling the spaciousness, even by just witnessing Susie tap into the space. It's literally, it's one thought and one intention away. It's so beautiful. Momo says, okay, question. I can intellectually see a bigger vision, but the truth is inside in the feelings part, I have no clue what something bigger will actually look like. 1 million sounds like a number, but I have trouble feeling it. I think the rest of the questions cut off. But yeah, I guess, you know, if someone's wanting to play bigger and knows, like feels that fire in their belly, like they know they're here for a reason, they know they're here to do something big, they're not quite sure what it is, how would you suggest that they get clarity on that? Have you been in a place where, because I definitely have, where I've just known there's more, but I feel like it's foggy, I'm not clear on it. Where do they start with that?
So my answer to this is dual. And, you know, when I talk about my story, I had no idea that I was going to be here when I first started. And I think that often you get some people who are just so clear on their purpose, so clear on their vision. And I'm like, go on your bad self. Excellent. This is the plan. For people who don't know, often they will get stuck going round and round and round in circles, trying to find the thing. Like, I just need to know. And I'm like, faith and trust starts with trusting that there is a plan for you. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then the next thing is I just took the next step. So when I left my job, it was like, what do I want to do? Okay, I want to do something practical. I was running the script that I wasn't academic and I wasn't bright. So I just want to do something practical. Okay, what is a practical course I can do? Hypnotherapy and psychotherapy. Okay, excellent. And so I just focused on the next step. And so if you are somebody that is going round and round and round and round in circles and has got no idea, then I'm just like, what is the next step calling you to do? Listen for the answer that you get and then follow that direction. Don't listen to all of the thoughts that say no and what if and all of that stuff. Just take the next step. The other really important thing that I have done that has helped me with my own visions is put myself in the environment where I am surrounded by people who have massive visions and impact and are doing the things. And when you put yourself in environments where people are doing amazing things on a daily basis, and actually you realize these people are not that different from me. We all bleed, we all poo, we all go to sleep. Okay, well, if they're doing that and that kind of makes me feel a little bit tingly, what would my version of that be?
Yeah.
So that environment, if you can't imagine it, which you can, by the way, you can imagine it. We all have beautiful creative imaginations, and sometimes we put it in a little box when we get older, but as a kid, you used to daydream and imagine all of the time. Give yourself permission to daydream and imagine, what would I choose? How would I want to feel? Also, I'm giving you lots of different things here, but also, how do I want to feel? I want to feel alive. I want to feel happy. I want to feel free. Is what I'm doing at the moment making me feel alive, happy, and free? No. Okay, what would one thing I can do today that would make me feel alive, happy, and free? Trusting that if you continue on that path, you're going to be presented with the door, you're going to be presented with the picture, you're going to be presented with the person that activates the thought that is like, this is the thing.
Yeah.
So good. So many different things there.
No, it's amazing. It's so good. And yeah, people can feel into, what's in the highest resonance for them, because everyone's, slightly different in this way. It's so good. Thank you so much for sharing that. There's a nice question here as well. Susie, was your growth at the beginning slower, i.e. from 0 to 100K? Did it take much longer than reaching the million?
So my first year in business, I made minus £14,000. And I think that's really important to say.
Yeah.
My second year in business, I crossed six figures.
Awesome.
So I did 125. And the reason that I did minus 14,000 in the first year is not really because I didn't sell anything, but because I invested heavily in my growth, in mentorship, in courses. And some people don't do that. I have done that for the whole time I've been in business. There's only ever been 6 months where I haven't had a mentor, and I have multiple different mentors. That's really, really important to me. My support network is so, so important. So really, year on year, I doubled my income until 2018-19. I went from 469 to 420, and I was like, I felt stuck. And I knew that I was stuck because I used to call myself a mindset coach because I'm very mindy. We can think our way into anything. For me, the growth came when I stopped trying to think my way and started playing in the quantum field.
So good. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, there's an awesome question here too. How do you stop asking, but how will it happen? Yeah, I think that's the core of the question. Like if someone has a really strong how brain and they're constantly like, okay, well, I have this vision, but how, and they get into the rabbit hole, loop of like, I need to see how it's going to happen. Yeah, what would you suggest with someone who wants to maybe release that program?
I mean, this is a whole reset in your thinking. For me, how I stopped doing that was to reset my whole thinking. So it was the trusting had to come first. So I had to trust that I was allowed to have a big dream. So when you say, I think I could do it, but only if I have X, Y, and Z, only if I have this specific formula, which I'm not sure what the formula is, so I'm going to search until I find you're coming at it backwards. And I'm not saying that you can't do it like that, but it's that real push and searching energy from outside of yourself. Yeah. I had to decide that I was worthy of my dream, and I had to trust. So one of the things I teach is that if you look at your DNA, in your DNA is the blueprint for every single thing that came before you, every single thing. So and what's really interesting is not only is you've got every single thing that came before you, but you've got every single thing that's going to come after you. Energy can't be created or destroyed. And what that means is that all of the thoughts that ever were, and all of the thoughts that are ever going to be are all in your field, all around you right now. That for me was such a huge shift in my thinking and awareness. It opened up like so many possibilities, because it literally meant that every single possibility was around me.
Mm.
And when I understood that, and I'm still practicing, I'm still deepening into it, but what it means is that if every thought that I'm ever going to have, so 10 million pound Susie, 100 million pound Susie, if that is in the atmosphere, it's all around me, my job isn't to work out how, it's to align. It's to align to that frequency. It's to align to that energy. And so in that way of thinking, I don't need to know the how. I have to focus on the being, and I have to focus on the being of the frequency of that vision and that thought. So that was a big shift. That was a big shift. But that's how I dropped the how. I hope that's useful for you. It depends
That's
where
so
you
useful.
are in your path.
Yeah, no, everyone's just in so much gratitude, and thank you so much as well for how simple you're making everything. So this is amazing. I think there's one last question on here. So someone's saying they've really worked to let go of attachment and they're working on their purpose, but they feel like their business isn't generating the money, like their money's not increasing. So they're saying, how would they start increasing their money from a zero base? Like, where do they start when they're in the very beginning of their business, and they feel they're aligned with their purpose and they're starting to release the attachment? What would be their first couple of steps?
Okay, so I have lots of questions. So if we were sat opposite, I would be like, okay, so how long have you been in business?
Yeah.
How long have you been practicing detachment? Because this is something that I'm practicing every single day. Every single day. And the way that attachment creeps in very kind of sneaky ways. So what I want you to look out for, what I want you to notice is when you think about your goal or the idea of sharing your goal, do you feel a little bit of a contraction? When you think about missing your goal, do you feel a little bit embarrassed? Do you feel any of the more kind of challenging emotions are you feeling when you think about your business, or when you think about your money, when you think about your savings? And if the answer is yes to any of those, you're still playing the attachment game. You're making, you're giving, whether you hit it or not, or when you hit it, meaning. And one of the most, I don't want to say challenging parts of this whole game is releasing the attachment, so not giving it meaning. So how do we do this in practical terms? For me, I focus on the impact. So whenever I find myself getting tight, the question that I ask myself is, how can I be of service today? How can I be of service today? So I would be every single day choosing to know that if I am showing up in service, if I'm going to be on this Instagram live, I'm going to show up and I'm going to share from the heart as much as I can, so that you walk away and you feel elevated. Like, that is the intention. I want every single thing that you do in relation to your business for you to be coming at it from that place without going, and I wonder if that person's going to message me back. And I wonder if that person's going to do this. And I wonder if that person's going to do that. I want you just to really show up in service. That's the first thing. That's very clear on your intention. The second thing that I want you to do is make sure that you are charging appropriately for the services that you are offering. So we can show up in service, great. And then when somebody is ready to go deeper with you, you want to make sure that it's a fair, energetic exchange. Because often what happens in this spiritual world, it's like, I've got to give, but I'm not allowed to receive because that's not spiritual. And then you're like, but how do I earn more money? It's like, you've got to charge for your services. So I want to make sure that you are charging appropriately. And when you are marketing, you can be serving, you can be marketing, and you make sure that you're asking people, if you want to go deeper, make sure that you message me. And then you'll really know, like, I know we're going to hit 10 million. I know that we're going to hit 10 million. I think it will be in 3 years, but it doesn't matter if it's not in 3 years. But I think we're going to hit it in 3 years. And everything that I do today is from that place of knowing that I'm an 8-figure business owner. I'm making the decisions about how I show up today on the Facebook Live, how I message, what my team do. Everything is in alignment with that big vision. And I trust, and I know, and I have faith. So show up in service. First of all, check to see where you're feeling contraction. Am I feeling tightness? If I'm feeling tightness, I want to clear that energy. I want to release that energy. I do it through the breath. You can do it through tapping. You can do it through journaling. You can do it through meditation. You can do it through whatever you like. My favorite tool is the breath. I'm going to breathe through and create spaciousness in my body. I'm going to show up in service. I'm going to make sure that I have appropriately priced products and that I'm asking for the sale and making the invitation. And then I'm keeping my eye on the bigger vision, and I'm knowing and I'm trusting that that bigger vision is coming into my world. And when I behave in alignment with the bigger vision, I can also collapse time.
Yes, 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 yes. Wow, everyone is so blown away and so grateful. There's just so much love, so many hearts. Everyone's saying, wow, thank you so much. And everyone's saying a queen and typing through all their takeaways and breakthroughs. This has been so phenomenal, Susie. I feel you've just literally poured your whole heart and your whole soul, and you've been so generous with everything that you've shared with you guys. Yeah, everyone is just, I can see all the love hearts. It's like a constant stream of hearts going on at me. Yes, Susie. Nicole's on the line cheering you on. Yolan's on the line celebrating you. There's like a beautiful, beautiful tribe present with us here today. So yeah, Susie, I love you so much. There's no words to put into some sort of container how much I love you. I can't wait to see you again in person and squeeze you and celebrate you in person. But thank you so much for doing this work. Thank you for being an example. Thank you for going through all of these layers within yourself. I mean, guys, Susie and I literally speak daily on Telegram. Like it's odd that there's not a day that we don't converse and exchange. And so I've just witnessed you peel back the layers. I've witnessed you constantly do the work. I've witnessed you just constantly stay in this vibration of this higher level of service and impact and growth and expansion. And I know you're just getting warmed up. You're just getting warmed up. You're just getting started. So guys, please go follow Susie, invest with her. You know, she just has so much content online as well. As you've seen today in this short time period, she's just full of wisdom and the frequency you want to be around. If you're looking to upgrade your environment, you absolutely want to get around her now. Everyone's sending so much love and saying thank you. Yay. Susie, is there anything that you'd like to share with these guys to anchor everything in and wrap it up? This has been such a powerful conversation.
No, I just want to say, remember the thing, the affirmation that has changed my life is faith plus action equals miracles. So I want you to take it. I want you to use it, and I want you to live it, please.
Yes. Yes to that, guys. Yes in the comments. Everyone's saying, I'm upgrading, I'm in tears. Guys, if this has been of impact to you, you know, actually, apparently all of these comments on live actually disappear once we post this live on Instagram. So go back, rewatch this again, because there's so much love on here. Leave a comment in there. If Susie's impacted you through here, leave a comment on the actual video once it's live and posted, and share with her your biggest breakthrough, your biggest takeaways. Share this onto your stories. Tag Susie, tag me, tag anyone who should watch this, right? Because we always talk about this in the mastermind. It's like creating these little pebbles and the ripples we get to create. And just by you sharing this, someone might be out there praying for these answers that Susie shared today. And by you sharing this, you can be that piece of the puzzle for them without you even knowing it potentially. So yeah, guys, we're receiving all of your love. You're amazing. Thank you so much, Susie. This has been so beautiful having you on. I'm celebrating your £1 million plus in 6 months. And one last thing, what are you doing to actually celebrate this other than this live stream?
Ibiza, baby.
Back to where it started.
Yeah. Cannot wait.
So beautiful. Yay. Well, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone on. I love you all so much. Love you, Susie. Ciao,
Thank
ciao.
you. Bye-bye.
Ciao.